The time for convening has arrived. Senate will come to order. At this time, I will ask all unauthorized personnel to exit the chamber. Recognize the senator from the 28th to speak to the Journal.
Good morning, Mr. President, and happy day 39 to you and my fellow members of this great Senate body. We've got a great lineup for a very long day. Look forward to serving with each and every one of our pages today as they bring us our messages and do the work of the people of Georgia. Today's lineup, we've got Peyton Phillips, John Henry Collins, Colt Gaines, Gabrielle Ishmael, Pier Paolo Promoli, Buttercup Simmons, Hannah Tanya, Consuela Chavaria, Sari Moore, Caitlin Page, Stephen Leach, Tessa Dart, Addie Cook, Sophia Hook, Aiden Campbell, Luke Pilgrim, Hannah Cortez, and James Allen Miles. Thank you, pages. Look forward to working with y'all today. Y'all give them a big round of applause. Mr. President, this journal's getting thick, but it's been read and found to be correct.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there objection to dispensing with the reading of the Journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the Journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to confirmation of the Journal? Chair hears none, and the Journal is confirmed. First reading and references of Senate bills and resolutions. Secretary?
Senate Bill 328 by Senators Albers of the 56th and Robertson of the 29th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 47 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to retirement. Senate Bill 329 by Senators Jones of the 10th. Senate Bill 329 by Senators Jones of the 10th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 8 of Title 35 of the Official Code of Georgia.
Public safety.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
Secretary read reports of standing committees.
Mr. President, the Senate Committee on State and Local Governmental Operations has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 350, do pass. House Bill 351, do pass. House Bill 662, do pass. House Bill 695, do pass. House Bill 696, do pass. House Bill 701, do pass. House Bill 702, do pass. House Bill 703, do pass. House Bill 710, do pass. House Bill 713, do pass. House Bill 715, do pass. House Bill 716, do pass. House Bill 718, do pass. House Bill 720, do pass. House Bill 721, do pass. House Bill 722, do pass. House Bill 723, do pass. House Bill 724, do pass. House Bill 725, do pass. House Bill 726, do pass. House Bill 727, do pass. House Bill 735, do pass. House Bill 736, do pass. House Bill 739, do pass. House Bill 755, do pass. House Bill 756, do pass. House Bill 758, do pass. House Bill 761, do pass. House Bill 762, do pass. House Bill 774, do pass. House Bill 786, do pass. House Bill 787, do pass. House Bill 789, do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Frank Ginn of the 47th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
It is now time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Senator from the 40th.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 43rd.
Without objection, the senator from the 43rd is excused. Any other motions to excuse? Senator from the 22nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 41st for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, Senator from the 41st. Senator from the 42nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 55th for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, Senator from the 55th is excused. Any other motions to excuse? Secretary will call the roll. Senators, please signify your, hold on. What, we got one more? Senator from the 42nd?
39th without objection.
Without objection, Senator from the 39th is excused as well. Please signify your presence by voting the yay switch. Secretary will unlock the machine. It is now time for our morning devotion. All senators, please take your seats and cease all audible conversation. I would ask the doorkeepers secure the chamber at this time. I want to recognize a good senator from Clayton County, Georgia, senator from the 34th, to do our pledge and introduce our chaplain of the day. Senator?
Thank you, Mr. President. Will you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Georgia flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag, the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation. What a joy, what a joy, what a joy. It is such an honor for me to introduce to you all Bishop Diane Reed Collins is a 21st century vanguard and a people pusher. She was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and credits whatever degree of success she has achieved in life to God. A praying mother, a wonderful family, a faith-walking mentor and friend. As a child, she was particularly fascinated with the arts, whether it was theatrics, music, drawing, or public speaking. Diane would always stand out when opportunity arose for one or more of these God-given graces. She received a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Communication and Fine Arts from Memphis State University, now University of Memphis, where her theatric abilities left its mark. Upon relocating to Atlanta, Georgia area, she received a Master's of Divinity degree from the Interdenominational Theological Center. Diane has served as founder and senior pastor of 31 of Faith Walk Ministries, Inc. for approximately, 31, OMG, 31 years. Faith Walk, located in College Park, Georgia, that's Senate District 34. The vision for the church is to provide a climate where saints and seekers can experience the love of God through the worship and receive spiritual nourishment needed to help them reach their God-given potential through Christ. She was consecrated as a bishop in September of 2006. her pastor, Bishop Jonathan Greer II. She oversees various ministries, which include satellite and affiliated churches in Georgia area. She approachably keeps her grounds and keep it real. I am so honored to bring this beautiful bishop from Senate District 34 to bless this Senate this morning. Bishop Collins.
To the governor, to all of the members of the Senate, and to my dear Senator Valencia C. I will be reading a devotional excerpt from one of the books I have written, and it's entitled Room for the Gift. In Proverbs 18 and 16, we find these words, "A man's gift maketh room for him, and bringeth him before great men." Theater has always been one of my first loves. I was a member of the Waterford Theatrical Guild when I attended Hamilton High School, and I also became a member of a lot of the local groups after graduating from high school. One summer, I auditioned for a popular stage play entitled Pearlie and was given the lead female role. At the time, I was also the only musician at my church and had to miss a couple of the play rehearsals due to schedule conflicts. When I resumed play rehearsals, the director had given my part to another cast member and informed me that I was now her understudy and a member of the chorus. The director was angry with me because I had missed the first two rehearsals. I had worked diligently on all the lead songs for this character, Ludabelle, while I was out. And I was tempted to resign from the production altogether. But my friends convinced me to stay. 2 weeks before the play opened, the director and music director asked the young lady who they had given my role to and me to meet with them and go over all the music. They wanted to hear both of us sing all of the lead songs, and boy, was I ready. She sang first, and she had this beautiful operatic tone to her voice, and when it was my turn, I had this gospel jazzy style when I sang, and they fell in love with it. That was the day God made room for my gift. The director and the music director had a private meeting with me, and I will never forget the director's words. He said, "Diane, I know we took the lead part from you a few weeks ago, but we want to give it back to you. We know you're the one, that we need for this part, and we understand that you are a musician at your church, and you may not be able to make all of the play rehearsals, but guess what? We are willing to work around your schedule. Would you please take this role again? The other young lady will be your understudy now. What do you say?" I responded, "Okay, I'll take the part." The other young lady and I were good friends, and there were no harsh feelings between us. The production was a big hit, and we played to sold-out crowds for 2 weeks straight. We even ran the next summer, and I continued to play Ludabelle in Pearlie. So what am I saying? Whatever gift you have, God's word says it will make room for you. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to sabotage anybody else's gift to get ahead. All you have to do is just polish and perfect the gift you have, and when a God opportunity comes your way, you will be ready. Sometimes you may feel as if you're being overlooked or ignored, but it's not that way all the time. God is just setting the stage for your big debut. Keep a positive attitude and stay prepared. Do not, under any circumstances, leave this earth with your gifts still locked inside of you. If you'll stand for prayer. Eternal God, we come before your presence in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. We thank you, Lord God, for waking us this morning and blessing us with the gift of another day. Every day you give us, it is a day for us to make a difference in somebody's life. And so we thank you for thinking enough of us to bless us with this new day. We thank you, Lord God, for this Senate meeting. We thank you for this sacred place. A lot of decisions have been made within these walls that have affected a whole lot of Georgians. And so, God, we just turn this meeting over to you today, and we ask that you would be glorified by whatever is said and done. We thank you for each member of the Senate. We thank you for their families, because, God, they could not do what they do without the support of a loving family. So we thank you for their family members. We ask right now that you would bless the governor in a very special way, from the crown of his head to the soles of his feet. You have given all of us gifts in this room, and God, help us to ever be mindful that we owe you to do our best at everything we put our hands to. We thank you and we give you the glory. We come against every hindering spirit, everything that the enemy would do to try to cause confusion and sow discord. We rebuke it right now in the name of Jesus. Now, God, do what you do best, and we'll thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
If I could have everybody's attention real quick, I'd like to recognize some very special guests we have here in the room today. We've got the 4-time defending state champions, John Millage Academy here today. We got the team up here in the gallery. Y'all give these young men a round of applause real quick. John Millage Academy is located in Milledgeville, Georgia. Their head football coach is a former teammate of mine from the University of Georgia, a young man by the name of J.T. Wall. He's in his 12th year as the head football coach there. They are, in the last 4 years, they just broke a state record of 50 wins in a row. These young men right here have never lost a high school football game right here. 50 in a row. That's pretty impressive. I told JT we were going to get him an office down here because he comes down here so much with all his winning. He showed me their ring right here. This was one of the smaller state title rings they have. And I told him I wanted him to make me a set of brass knuckles out of the 4 championships because I might use them between now and day 40. So, but no, I want to thank them for being down here. Obviously, the senator from the 25th is proud to have him here as well. But y'all give head coach J.T. Wall a round of applause here.
All right, thank y'all for having us. Thank you to Lieutenant Governor and Senator Williams. They told me to say a quick story about Lieutenant Governor, but I don't want to give y'all any more ammunition than you need. But once again, we appreciate y'all having us, and look forward to seeing y'all next year. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have the Doctor of the Day with us, and I'll call on the senator from the 56 to recognize our Doctor of the Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm very excited to have Dr. Anza Anderson with us today from Marietta. She did her residency and internship at Drexel University of Medicine in Philadelphia. She did her undergraduate work at Keele University in England, and then her doctorate of medicine in St. George's University. She's got an amazing resume and background. She currently serves as a doctor at the North Atlanta Primary Care in Marietta, as well as her Alpharetta location. She's got numerous volunteer community and outreach work that she does. And in her spare time, she likes baking and cooking, reading and traveling. It is my pleasure to introduce our Doctor of the Day, Dr. Anderson.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I won't take up much of your time, but it's my pleasure to serve here for you today as the Doc of the Day, as we also kick off Physicians Week this week as well. Thank you all so much for all of your tireless work as you help to pass laws that, dictate our practice in Georgia and serve patients. And thank you.
All
do a picture right down here.
Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? I recognize the senator from the 15th, the Dean of the Senate.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. President. I would like to honor some people in the gallery, as well as a young man who has did a lot of work to recognize people in uniform. In the Senate gallery, we have Major Thornell King, Department of Public Safety; Gary Clark, President, Georgia Firefighters Association; Butch Ayers, President, Georgia Police Chiefs Association; Ken Bohannon, Georgia Ambassador, Mission 22; Steve Rogers, Georgia Ambassador, National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial and CEO Servants Task Force, and who originated this amendment, proposal; Ginger Rogers, Secretary of Servants Task Force; Terry Norris and Michael Mitchell, President and Legal Affairs of the Georgia Sheriff's Association. And the resolution for the entire group reads, honoring the men and women who have served, are serving, or will one day either serve in law enforcement, the military branches of the United States, or as firefighters, and recognizing May 2023 as United in Uniforms Recognition and Memorial Month, and for other purposes. Whereas the men and women from the state of Georgia have taken the oath and pledged to heed the call of those in danger at any time, serve and protect the citizens and properties of Georgia, defend our freedoms against enemies, both foreign and domestic, and be willing to pay the last full measure. The month of May currently holds International Firefighters Day, Police Week, and Memorial Day weekend, all of which honor our uniformed heroes for their service and sacrifices within our state and within our nation. Whereas from time to time, the creation of the first department in 1736, the first police department, 1844, and the first military branch in America, 1784. Men and women have raised their hands, swore allegiance, endured rigorous training, and given their lives for other citizens and loved ones in our state and nation, both upon our soil and overseas. Whereas it is abundantly fitting and proper that these valiant men and women be appropriately honored. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that members of this body recognize May 2023 as Uniform Recognition and Memorial Month, and honor those who have served, are serving, or who will serve in duty on behalf of the United States. Be it resolved further that the Secretary of the Senate is authorized and directed to make appropriate copies of this resolution available for distribution to the public in other areas. Signed by Senator Harbison of the 15th, Robinson of the 29th, Alvarez of the 56th, and Rahman of the 5th. President of the Senate, President Jones, President Pro Tem Kennedy, Senator Harbison, Secretary of the Senate David Cook. Thank you very much.
Recognize the senator from the 48th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is my first well speech. I waited until I had something of gravity before coming before you today, but after seeing an event last week at 141 Pryor Street, I realized what this speech was going to be. I come before you today to thank you for your decorum, to thank you for your politeness when we disagree, to thank my friends from across the aisle for welcoming a freshman legislator from North Fulton who, even when a lot of bad, false press preceded my arrival to this chamber. To thank my friends, regardless of politics, for not race baiting, for not name calling, for not belittling the offices to which we were elected by hurling insults. Because what happened last week at 141 Pryor Street, the home of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, was one of the grossest displays of racial discrimination I've seen in many years. In fact, I've never seen it happen in this modern era. During a discussion on the adoption of a resolution authorizing the Fulton County Attorney to file a complaint with the DOJ requesting an investigation of Wellstar, one of the commissioners gave an approximately 10-minute-long description of the financial issues that led to the closure of 2 hospitals in South Fulton. I listened to the entire hearing, and as someone who has a decade of experience in healthcare administration, I can say that many of her data points seemed accurate from a fiscal perspective. You see, Commissioner Bridget Thorne represents North Fulton. Her heritage is half Latina, born of a Mexican mother. She is my commissioner and she is my friend. But because of what she looks like, because she gave a financial overview of the reasons why she thinks Wellstar made the decisions they did for the hospital closures, she was mocked and she was ridiculed. Let me be specifically clear. She was called white privilege and a Karen by her fellow Commissioner Arrington. She was called white privilege 4 times by fellow Commissioner Abdurrahman. Commissioner Abdurrahman doubled down later and said, white privilege can turn into white tears at any minute. And Board Chairman Pitts didn't say a word and let the attacks unfold upon her without any recourse. So with that, I encourage my colleagues to join me in condemning this racial hatred from 2 of our Fulton commissioners, and to defend any commissioner's right to be able to express their opinions, that as an elected official, they are entitled to speak about an issue just as we are. I commend and appreciate Commissioner Thorne for her strength and composure during those attacks. She represents her constituents well, and she made many valid points. She did not deserve any of the foul words spoken against her, and I am proud for how she handled the situation and represents Fulton County. And with that, I thank all of my friends in this chamber, Republican and Democrat, for not bringing those words, that hatred, and that poor character into the Senate. Thank you.
Recognize the senator from the 8th for a point of personal privilege from Lowndes County, Georgia. And Blueberry proud and true.
Thank you, Mr. President. What did I come here for? Colleagues, the Sportsman's Caucus raffle is going to close on Sine Die, and so there's a whole lot less of us than our House members, and so if you will come by my office at 301 and see Rachel and buy a ticket, it goes to, we're raffling off a handgun, and it's going to go to the Sportsman's Caucus. And also, Mr. President, I brought up 48 pounds of cobbler today from back home, and I want to thank our Commissioner Vag for allowing us to use his oven, and Miss Kathy Cassava for helping me get it cooked, and we're going to send out for ice cream. So later today, we're going to be eating cobbler and ice cream, and I'm going to get the senator from the 27th wearing husky pants like me before it's over with. Mr. President, I yield the will.
Recognize the senator from the 24th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just come to the well today to thank each and every one of y'all for these cards, your prayers, phone calls for this past weekend when Donna and I, her mother passed away. But just want to thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. I love each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator, and our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family during this time, Senator. Mother-in-law had a good life, though. 94 years young, right? Yeah, 94. So, but keep the senator from the 24th in your thoughts and prayers, please. Senator from the 11th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be brief. Just wanted to rise today to let everyone know that this is the National Farm Worker Awareness Week. We have over 2.6 million farm workers that come to the United States to allow us to eat 3 meals a day. We have 35,000 that come to the state of Georgia to allow each one of y'all to eat today. They leave their families, their spouses, their mamas and their daddies, and they come work here in the United States so that we can all have food. They are highly skilled, they are essential, and they're very important to agriculture in the state of Georgia and across our nation. And just before I leave, I just wanted to say, gracias por trabajar en los campos agrícola. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Recognize Senator from 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today is Newton County Day at the Capitol, and I believe we have some folks in Newton County up in the gallery with us today. A couple of folks up there, some from our school system and county leadership and economic development folks up there. And we're proud to have you all up here at the Capitol today. On your desk, you have a bag, a few things from one of our big employers that's decided to make Newton County a home. Bridgestone, you got some swag in a bag here as you get ready for a little golf tournament. I think it's going to be the next couple weeks if I remember correctly. And so proud to have you guys up here, proud to represent Newton County, a place that so many people, so many companies are wanting to call home here in the east side of Atlanta. If y'all would please help me recognize some of our friends up in the gallery. Thank you.
Recognize a senator from the 13th.
Good morning, colleagues. I want to introduce you all to my first grandchild, Jackson Daniel Green. That's awesome. He's got his bow tie on. He's ready for his Senate run, and I hope to turn it over to him very soon. I really do. And I have my beautiful daughter, Jade, here with me today, obviously the mother. Say hey, buddy. Say hey. Hey, get your picture. Thank you.
Oh, look at him. All right. He's a cutie. All right. Recognize the senator from the 49th.
Good morning, colleagues. A few minutes ago, the senator from the 11th came and spoke about this week being National Farm Workers Appreciation Day, and I want to take a moment to highlight that as well. You know, many of you know that my husband is one of the owners of J. Moore Farm and kind of runs the place. But we brought someone with us today who actually does run and make everything happen. We have Kenny Valenzuela in the back. Kenny is one of our H-2A workers that comes to our farm every year to work for us and with us. Kenny's background is he's a lawyer for the governor of Mexico City. He practices for women and children. He facilitates divorces and child support and alimony recovery. Kenny has a big heart and a strong back. But Kenny takes care of our family's farm, and he is a part of our family. He's been coming to our farm every year since 2016. This is a contract that Kenny signs and chooses to come work with us every year. He leaves his family at home, and he comes here to help us. He manages our crews, our wholesale orders, and he's our liaison between the farm labor and management. Kenny chooses to come here because he can make more money coming to America working on our farm than he can make as a lawyer in Mexico City. He chooses to do that year after year after year, and we're certainly appreciative of him. So I just wanted to take a moment to bring Kenny down to the Capitol today to show him what I do and to show him our appreciation for he and the others who do what they do for us.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. I recognize Senator from the 39th for appointed personal privilege. There she is.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. So I am excited to introduce you today to some exceptional young ladies who are joining us in the gallery. You will notice them by their crowns. We have Miss Atlanta, Audrey Kittela, Miss Capital City, Tara Shipkoff, Miss Greater Atlanta, Melanie Yang, Miss Capital City's teen, Riley Wolf Rock, and Miss Greater Atlanta's teen, Carrington Manis. These ladies will be competing at Miss Georgia this June, which the winners will go on to compete at Miss America and Miss America's Teen. They will promote their individual platforms, which range from mental health awareness, overcoming failure, and enhancing educational opportunities for all students. Would you please rise and join me to welcome these ladies to the Georgia Senate? Rise, everybody, and clap for these wonderful young ladies. Thank you very much. I yield the well.
Recognize Senator from the 42nd for appointed personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Seeing the senator from the 13th adorable grandbaby made me decide to get up and share some good personal news that I have, which is that some of you know my wonderful father was diagnosed with lymphoma in December and has been undergoing chemotherapy for lymphoma since. And halfway through treatment, we got some scans and we got his results. And the tumor has shrunk by 2/3 already. And its ability to cause harm has gone from a 7 to a 2, and the doctor said no less than 3 times that my father was amazing because he is so strong and his hair has not even fallen out from chemo. That is how well he is doing. So just wanted to say, Daddy, I love you very much. My dad's 85, and we think he will live to 105. Thank you. I yield the well.
Recognize the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, we have some special guests up in the gallery I'd like to recognize. If you're familiar with the Sole Commissioner of Form of Government, we have one in our presence today. The Union County Commissioner, Mr. Lamar Paris. He and I was elected in 2001 together, and I've known him for 22 years, and it's been a great friendship. We also have the Mayor of Blairsville, Mr. Jim Conley, in the gallery, and over to their left is our friend Mike Beatty, that most of you know as Coach. They're doing a great job up in Union County working on workforce development, and they are working on a Community Champions initiative which provides our young people with career opportunities like skill coaching and mentorship that leads to thriving families and exciting futures. Y'all please give a warm Senate welcome to my friends from Union County. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
They said that single county commission thing worked as soon as you got out of the way and got in the Senate, you know. Said it started working great then. So. All right, the Senator from the 29th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues and friends and those that are state directors around Georgia, I want to thank each and everybody for reaching out this weekend when we had severe weather strike my district, primarily in Troup and Meriwether County, where a lot of damage was caused. But like everything that happens in District 29, it's a little different than most parts of the state of Georgia. We had a tremendous outpouring of support to get all the trees cleared up and to clear up anybody's concern. The 2 tigers that escaped and were running free through the district, they were captured and put back where they're used to living. So when you come through District 29, I want you to know that the roads are clear and all the wildlife is back where it belongs. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Does any other senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? You have before you a consent calendar of privilege resolutions. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the consent calendar? Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution on the consent calendar? Chair hears none, and the resolution on the consent calendar is adopted. Are there any motions to withdraw or commit? No motions to withdraw or commit. All right, you have before you a consent calendar of study committee resolutions. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the consent calendar? Chair hearing none. The question is on the consent calendar for the study committee resolutions. Is there objection agreed to report the committee which are favorable to the adoption of the resolutions on the consent calendar? Chair hears none. The report of the committees are agreed to. The question is on the adoption of the study committee consent calendar. All those in favor vote yea, opposed nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. Thank you. All right, you ready? Grab that after I say this, right? On the passage. On the adoption of the consent calendar of study committees, yeas are 43 and nays are 1, and therefore they have passed. On. You have before you consent calendar of local bills. Mr. Secretary, have you had any objections to any of the local bills?
Mr. President, no objections have been filed.
Is there objection to agreeing to report of Committee on State and Local Governmental Operations, which is favorable to the passage of the bills of the local consent calendar? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. The question is on the passage of the bills on the local consent calendar. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 50 and nays are 0. This bill on the local consent calendar, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. I recognize the majority leader for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, we have three choices: a motion to engross, a motion to recess for lunch, or sine die. What would you prefer?
Wow. Two out of three of those sound really good.
Well, unfortunately, I'll ask for unanimous consent that the following bills and resolutions be engrossed: House Bill 31, House Bill 82, House Bill 86, House Bill 230, House Bill 290, House Bill 412, House Bill 454, and House Bill 504.
The majority leader has asked that House Bills 31, 82, 86, 230, 290, 412, 434, and 504 be engrossed. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 31, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 2 of Article 3 of Chapter 8 of Title 12 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, relating to hazardous site response so as to dedicate the proceeds of certain hazardous waste fees to the Hazardous Waste Trust Fund as authorized and subject to the conditions House Bill 82, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to imposition, rate, computation, exemptions, and credits relative to state income taxes so as to limit eligibility for the rural physician tax credit. House Bill 86, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 48-8-3 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to the exemptions from sales and use tax so as to exempt sales of tangible personal property used for or in the renovation or expansion of certain aquariums. House Bill 230, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 8 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to sales and use taxes so as to provide a qualified consolidated government special purpose local option sales tax. House Bill 290, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 6 of Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to municipal taxation so as to revise provisions concerning the duties of county tax commissioners with respect to the assessment and collection of municipal taxes and fees. House Bill 412, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to income taxes so as to repeal a limitation on the types of partnerships that may elect to pay income taxes at the entity level. House Bill 454, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to revenue and taxation so as to revise the terms Internal Revenue Code and Internal Revenue Code of 1986 and thereby incorporate certain provisions of the federal law into Georgia law. House Bill 504, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 20-2-164 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to local 5 mil share funds so as to exclude amounts attributable to Level 1 Freeport exemptions for purposes of calculating local 5 mil share. That completes the order, Mr. President.
The majority leader has moved that House Bills 31, 82, 86, 230, 290, 412, 454, and 504 be engrossed. Is there objection? We have an objection. So I recognize the senator from the 51st. He's waving. Recognize the senator from the 55th if she'd like to speak to her objection. She waves. All those, the question is on engrossing of these bills. All those in favor of the motion will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the motion, the yeas are 33 and the nays are 19, and this motion has prevailed. Before we start on the rules calendar, I think it is worth noting, let's bear with, we've had some significant storms that hit around the state, particularly in middle part of the state. Troup County, I know, was in Pike County and Upson County were some counties that were hit pretty significantly. Let's be mindful and keep the thoughts and prayers and of the families and the people who've had their properties and their lives turned upside down by those storms. This is the second or third time this year we've had significant storms hit the state of Georgia. So please be mindful of that, and let's keep them all in our thoughts and prayers moving forward. On to the rules calendar. We are Rules County SR 250. Secretary, read the caption.
Senate Resolution 250, a resolution urging the City of East Point and the City of South Fulton to take joint action to activate the East Point and South Fulton hospital authorities to establish a new hospital to serve the citizens of Southern Fulton County and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Health and Human Services recommends that this resolution do pass. Senator Ben Watson of the 1st District, Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President.
I recognize the senator from 35th. You going to do it from right there, Senator? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to present this bill, this resolution from my desk. Senators, SR 250 is just an urging resolution to allow the City of East Point and the City of South Fulton to come together and take action to have an authority for a hospital. The South Fulton Area Hospital closed a few months ago, and now we don't have service for Hateville, East Point, College Park, Union City, Fairburn, Palmetto, Chattahoochee Hills, Southwest Atlanta, and some of the surrounding areas of that area. So this only allows them, urges them to come together. They've already met and asked me to bring this forward so that they could officially apply for bonds. So if you have any questions, I would love to answer them for you. If not, I yield the will and ask for your favorable consideration.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the adoption of the resolution. All those in favor will vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the adoption of the resolution, the yeas are 52 and the nays are 0. The resolution you have received. The requisite constitutional majority is therefore adopted. Moving on, House Bill 86. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 86, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 48-8-3 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to exemptions from sales and use tax so as to exempt sales of tangible personal property used for or in the renovation or expansion of certain aquariums. The Committee on the Senate on Finance recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully, Senator Huffstetler, the 52nd District Chairman. The Senate Finance Committee offers the following substitute to House Bill 86. To amend Code Section 48-8-3 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to exemptions from sales and use tax so as to exempt sales of tangible personal property used for or in the renovation or expansion of certain aquariums or zoological institutions. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize Senator from the 56th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, my fellow senators. House Bill 86 simply extends the current sales tax credit to the Georgia Aquarium and the Atlanta Zoo. You know how much I like return on investment in measuring. This came back a few years ago with an 11-to-1 return on investment. It has a sunset in 2026, a Senate priority. It is shared by both the local and the state. And it does great things for bringing our children down to both those facilities, increases tourism, and is a jewel for our capital, city, and state. If there are no questions, I will yield the well.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you.
I recognize the senator from the 52nd. Like to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be brief, but you all have an audit on your desk, and I just wanted to point out the audit was done before the Senate perfected the bill. The original had $4.8 million, but it said state tax, which would have been $4.8 plus local. when I believe the intent of this bill was 4.8 million. So it was amended, and the sponsor of this bill that just sat down from the 56, he offered the amendment. So when you see 1.2 million state money each year, it's actually going to be less than half that amount once the bill was amended and showed that it wasn't going to collect, over $10 million like the bill could indicate it could, but only 4.8 million. Just wanted to clarify that. No questions, I'll yield the well. I am for the bill that somebody was looking at.
You have no questions. Masterful job, Senator. Masterful. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Question is on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor vote yea. All opposed nay. Secretary, unlock the machines. Right. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 52, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Moving on to House Bill 91. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 91, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 53 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to probate so as to require personal representatives to send notices to beneficiaries regarding the issuance of letters, testamentary, or letters of administration, to provide for revocation of such letters so as to personal representatives who fail to comply, to provide for trust beneficiary representation. The Committee on the Senate on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully, Senator Strickland of the 17th District, Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
I recognize the senator from the 50th. Speak to the bill. Senator from the 55th, or would you what purpose you rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Ask unanimous consent for the senator from the 34th to be excused. Business outside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senator from the 34th is excused. Recognize the senator from the 50th to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to bring you House Bill 91. What this bill does is that it requires the representatives of an estate to notify beneficiaries to a will. Right now, we have seen across the state where people will leave in their will certain monies to charities or hospitals just for example, and the representative of the state is not required right now to notify those beneficiaries. This would just require that. And if there are no questions, I'm happy to yield the well.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agree to the report of committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 50 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Oh my goodness, HB 121. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 121, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 7 of Title 52 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to registration, operation, and sale of watercraft generally, so as to provide for restrictions and requirements regarding wake surfing and wakeboarding. The Committee on the Senate on Transportation recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully, Senator Dolezal, the 27th District Chairman. The Senate Committee on Transportation offers the following substitute to House Bill 121. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 7 of Title 52 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to registration, operation, and sale of watercraft generally, so as to provide for restrictions and requirements relative to wake surfing and wakeboarding in certain instances, to provide for exceptions, to provide for definitions, to amend Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to motor vehicles and traffic, so as to provide for a definition, to provide for the operation of multipurpose off-highway vehicles on certain highways. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Just stand by. We're working on a bill. The no fun bill has some problems right now. I'm going to go ahead and recognize the senator from the 18th. They are working on a friendly amendment to the bill, but we'll go ahead and recognize the pro tem to present the bill while they're working on the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. Present a fun little bill to you that's going to fix a problem that we've got. So it's a good bill for Georgia and a good bill for Georgia's lakes and a good bill for folks that enjoy recreation on Georgia's lakes. The problem is we've got a fun sport called wake surfing and wake boarding that creates big wakes because it's a boat that's designed to create a big wake that you can ride behind the boat either on the wake itself or be pulled behind it, and you can jump as you're using your wakeboard. And it's a lot of fun, but the problem is the large wakes that are being created are causing property damages, it's causing damages to boats, it's causing damages and safety issues, and it's causing some advanced erosion issues in the lakes around our state. So this is, as I said, it's a fun sport. So what 121 does is simply fix the problem by creating a 200-foot setback from the lake shore or the appurtenance or docks that you have to keep if you're involved in that activity and you're pulling someone doing one of those two activities, that you have to stay 200 feet off of that line. This is consistent with South Carolina, and Tennessee already have a 200-foot setback requirement. So it puts us in conformity with them, which will be good from an enforcement standpoint. DNR came and testified at the hearing and presented on this, and they are in full support of this. And it's, as I said, it's going to be something good for not just the property owners, but people that enjoy boating and also people that interact with folks that do wakeboarding and wake surfing. There's also a second portion of the bill that deals with side-by-sides. And this is to create a program, an optional program, it's not mandatory, but an optional program permitting and issuing license plates to side-by-sides. And for those of you that don't know what side-by-sides are, you can think of utility vehicles that are made by John Deere, by Polaris. Can-Am makes some of them also are made by Gator, that we call them. But all these are used for recreation to do a lot of things. Georgia does not provide license plates for these vehicles, but surrounding states do. And many of our residents with these vehicles would like to, or they have to go seek out-of-state registration and get a title in North Carolina or Tennessee, for example, in those states in order to be able to cross lines to enjoy the recreation and use of the vehicle. For our residents that take these vehicles across state lines, they have to have the ability to register and receive a license plate for their vehicles. But those residents that use those vehicles locally, maybe on a farm, won't have to get a license plate. Simply going back to the point of, if you have one of these and you don't necessarily want to drive on county roads, you don't have to register, you don't have to get a tag. But if you do, and you want to drive on county roads or you want to cross state lines, this legislation simply enables you to go get a license plate for your vehicle and drive it and use it in more ways than they folks currently can that own these. There's a friendly amendment coming that changes just one aspect of what was required to ensure that there's no TAVT that's applied to these vehicles, and to conform with some Department of Revenue concerns that came up about how vehicles are licensed, which is typically tagged to a VIN, vehicle identification number. These units, these type of machines don't have a VIN, so we're trying to satisfy that last little issue so that DNR is fine with it. As far as I know, all the stakeholders are supportive of this. It's a good thing for folks that enjoy the lakes and rivers. It's a good thing for folks that own property. It's a good thing for folks that just want to make sure that we've got a safe environment on our lakes so that people enjoy that recreational activity, can do so and continue to do so safely. And if you've got a side-by-side, it's going to expand your ability of where you can drive that safely as well. We'll have that amendment hopefully be passed out any moment now. But with
you do have a couple questions.
Okay, Mr. President, I'm happy to answer questions.
Senator from the 42nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the senator yield?
I'll be happy to my friend from the 42nd.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Is it not true that I appreciate this bill and support it, and thank you for your work on it?
You do, Senator, and I appreciate your thoughts on that and your support for this and recognition that we've got a little problem that we need to fix, and this is the way to do it. Thank you for your support.
Well, I would agree. Would you further yield?
Certainly.
Isn't it true that research both in Georgia, scientific studies, and in other states have found that when operating in their usual formats, wake surf boats actually do need a much wider distance than we have called for in this bill, about 450 or 500 feet from shore, for the waves to diminish enough to match waves created by typical boats that are 200 feet from shore?
Senator, I'm aware of some of those statistics and data, and as someone who gets aggravated with the big rollers that come in and cause destruction and problems and safety issues, but this 200-foot setback creates, I think, a fairly carefully balanced approach to this. Certainly some people would like to have more, some people would like to have less, but this 200-foot setback puts us in line with states that are around us. And thank you for that information.
Thank you.
Recognize the senator from the 20th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would the senator yield?
I'll be happy to my distinguished friend from Houston County.
Senator, I'm not as familiar with this bill as I should be on the side-by-side part. I assume that it requires the same type of auto, insurance if you're going to be on the road as a private passenger auto would require.
Senator, I think that would be the case based upon the sections, the OCGA code sections in which this is being amended. I think that would be the case because it's not a carve out specifically for this, but the existing code structure and existing codification of these requirements, this is simply added to the list of what can be done. So I think that would be the case. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I'll try to confirm that.
Okay.
I think you would agree, wouldn't you, that is important?
I think so, Senator, yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
You have another question. Senator from the 1st.
Thank you, Mr. President. Does Senator yield?
I certainly do.
So this, if someone owns a lake, private lake, of which I don't, but if you did, would this law have any effect on them?
It would not. It would not. At the top of the bill, you'll notice, and I'll see if I can find the language, but in essence, these provisions that we have here talk about regulations that apply to the waterways of the state of Georgia. And that term, as defined elsewhere in the code, does not include private lakes.
Okay. Thank you, Senator.
Yes, sir.
You have another further question, Senator?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Then I'll yield the well on that. Sir.
We can read the amendment and you can speak to the amendment if you like, or
Yes,
we
sir.
can get the senator from 13th speak to it, whichever one you want. Go ahead and yield and we'll let some.
Okay. I'll yield the well. Thank you for your consideration of this, and I'd urge your vote yes for the bill and for the amendment that's being offered. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. We do have a friendly amendment, Amendment 1. Secretary, read the caption.
Senators Summer of the 13th and Gooch of the 51st offered the following amendment to House Bill 121. By changing license plate on lines 124, 127, and 128 to operating permit, changing September 1, 2023 to January 1, 2024 on line 131. Strike section 2-6, strike section 2-7. Starting at line 153, strike issued a certificate of title and, end quote. That completes the order, Mr. President.
I recognize the senator from the 13th speak to the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this is a friendly amendment. Thank you. The work the senator from the 18th has done on this bill here. This just cleans up some language that makes sure that we're copacetic with things that are going on regarding DR and license plates, et cetera, et cetera. Please vote for the amendment and the bill. Mr. President, I yield the well.
Senators yielded the well. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. On amendment number 1 from the senator from the 13th, is there objection to amendment number 1? Without objection, amendment number 1 is added. Question is on the adoption of the committee substitute as amended. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute as amended? Hearing none, the committee substitute as amended is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none, the main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor of the bill vote yea, opposed nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the no fund bill, yeas are 51, the nays are 2. And this bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Oh my goodness. No more fun on the lake. No more fun on the lake. I'll have to tell my 10-year-old, can't go surfing anymore. So, I'm kidding. It's fine. All right, moving on. HB 182. Secretary, read the caption.
HB 182, a bill to be entitled an act tort 1 of Article 1 of Chapter 2 of Title 44 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to recording of deeds and other real property transactions so as to revise provisions for curing defective deeds and other instruments to comport with the legislative correction recommended by the United States 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Pangora Loan Servicing LLC v. Scarver. The Committee on the Senate on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. Senate Judiciary offers the following substitute to House Bill 182. A bill to be entitled an act, Part 1 of Article 1 of Chapter 2 of Title 44 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to recording of deeds and other real property transactions so as to revise provisions for curing defective deeds and other instruments to comport with the legislative correction recommended by the United States 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Pangora Loan Servicing LLC v. Scarver. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. A very exciting property lawyer bill for you. It does two things. One, it addresses a federal case from last year that called into question our ability to fix defective deeds. Very exciting stuff, but this case required us to go back and amend our code section that makes certain that we can treat all deeds that you have on property, security deeds, the same. Senator for 30 seconds yawning on me. And so it cleans up that in Section 1. And in Section 2 and 3 of the bill, we in Judiciary Committee added in provisions that create a due process situation where you foreclose on timeshares. Last year we had a timeshare foreclosure bill that allows folks that are foreclosing on timeshares in our state to go through one, what I would call pretty quick path that's much easier. This was requested from some of our larger companies that want to come in and have a more complex process that would help with title insurance issues. Or you can use either process if you want. There was no opposition we heard on either issue. Happy to answer any questions, Mr. President. Otherwise, I ask for your support.
You
of
have no
House
questions,
Bill.
Senator.
Thank you. I ask for your support of House Bill 182. Thank you.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Questions on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none. Committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to report of committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor vote yea, opposed nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 52 and the nays are 2. This bill, having received requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Senator from the 21st, for what purpose do you rise?
Yeah, parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
You know, I just noticed the House only has 12 bills on their calendar, and I think we have 68 plus some bills that have been tabled, and we seem to be running very efficient. We've already went through 5. I have a concern about that, Mr. President.
Your concern is duly noted, Senator. And, you know, in fact, we might be able to break for lunch here a little early. Might not come back. How about that? That is it could be a motion. But we're gonna do our duty. We're gonna do the duty that lies nearest right now and keep working. So, moving on to House Bill 227. Secretary, read the caption. Oh, I'm sorry, 186. Secretary, read the caption. I'm sorry.
House Bill 186, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title V of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to appeal and error so as to revise an exception applicable to the filing of petitions for review and reviewing courts from lower judicatories, to make conforming changes to amend Code Section 36-32-2.1 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to removal of judges. The Committee of the Senate on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 18th.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, colleagues. This is truly a simple bill, House Bill 186. If you remember from last year, House Bill 916 that we all passed, I think it was unanimously, came out of committee, where we modified the process by which the appellate process works when things are appealed from the Superior Court. We updated the process and, quite frankly, just missed a couple of terms. If you'll see, for example, lines 27, the reference to certiorari or de novo proceedings is changed to petition for review. That's also seen on line 35 and also seen on line 45. So this is a cleanup to some items that were missed last year. This does not change anyone's substantive rights for appellate procedure, such as applying for certiorari or anything of that regard. Be happy to answer any questions.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you. I urge your support, and I appreciate your support for this, and I'll yield the well.
Does any other senator wish to rise, speak for or against the bill? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to report of committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 54 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, has therefore passed. Moving on to House Bill 227. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 227, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to crimes and offenses so as to provide for the offense of criminal interference with critical infrastructure, to provide for definitions, to provide for penalties, to amend Code Section 35-2-36, 42-8-35.4, and 43-34-10 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to composition of battalion, rank of battalion personnel, employment of recruits or cadets by commissioner. The Committee of the Senate on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. Senate Judiciary offers the following substitute to House Bill 227. A bill to be titled an act to amend Code Section 10-1-359.3 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to forfeiture and items declared contraband, so as to provide for a conforming cross-reference to amend Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to crimes and offenses, so as to revise the definition of critical infrastructure. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 46, the distinguished Regulation Industries Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. This is a bill to protect tax on our critical infrastructure of our state. We have defined in the existing code section for criminal damage to property a vital public service, and that will include water systems, sewerage, drainage, energy, the electric grid, natural gas, telecommunications, internet, public transportation systems, all of these public services. We have in the last few years seen a dramatic increase in attacks on power substations and other public services like this that harm all of us, large groups of people at the time. So this makes it clear what are vital public services. It also includes electronic means if you're hacking into these systems rather than just a physical attack. And the trigger is that it increases the minimum punishment from 1 year to 2 years and the maximum punishment from 10 years to 20 years. Mr. President, if there are no questions, I'll yield the well. I would ask for your favorable consideration.
You do have one question, Senator. Senator from the fort? No, okay. Never mind. He didn't have a question. He's going to speak for it.
Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
All right. Senator has yielded the well. I recognize the senator from the 14th to speak to the bill.
Good morning, colleagues. Don't want to take too much of your time. I support the bill. I am going to vote yes, but I just want to put a little marker here for you because 99.9% of the time when we have a social problem that we want to make go away, our first reflex instinct is just to turn the knob up on punishments, sentences, that sort of thing. I don't think we have any evidence. I mean, I could be wrong, and I'll take a question if somebody's got evidence. I don't think we have any evidence that increasing the penalty is actually going to deter this misconduct. I've heard very limited circumstances. In some cases where they're, like I said this from the well before, where individuals who commit crimes use message boards and ways of communicating with each other in a network to talk about sentence exposure so that there's actually a real deterrent effect. But we do this a lot of times somewhat mindlessly, and with all respect, I don't mean that the bill is mindless, I just mean that this is our first instinct to always ratchet up punishments. And I just wanted to flag that for everybody that, you know, it's something that if we are going to do it, I hope that we're thinking critically about whether we get a real deterrent effect out of it or not. Mr. President, I'll yield for any questions.
You do have one question, Senator. Senator from the 46.
Will the senator yield?
I sure do.
All right, so I understand your concerns, and I share those concerns on many of these bills. We just increased the penalties. Would you agree, though, that it is prudent for us to define these vital public services to make it clear that that falls under these series of property crimes?
I agree that there's a lot of utility in that, Senator, and I think these are some of the most important assets that a society, a functioning society has, and so we are meaning well to protect them. But again, you know, I just would like to put a little footnote for everybody as we keep serving year after year. Let's at least try to think creatively about administrative solutions to these problems first. Like, for example, catalytic converters is a great example. We've got great administrative remedies that don't necessarily rely on increasing criminal penalties to try and stop the harm. I would love to brainstorm with everybody about those types of administrative solutions before we get to this sort of last resort hammer of increasing the scope of the criminal justice system. But I think all the senator's concerns are well taken.
Thank you, Senator, and I appreciate your favorable support of this bill. It's always a pleasure to have bipartisan support to protect the people of Georgia.
It is, Senator. Thanks. If there are no other questions, I'll yield the well, Mr. President.
You have no questions. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Question is on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 52, the nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Secretary, read the caption for House Bill 228.
House Bill 228, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 20-3-411 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to definitions regarding tuition equalization grants at private colleges and universities, so as to expand the definition of approved school. The Committee of the Senate on Higher Education recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Hickman of the 4th District Chairman.
Recognize the senator from the 23rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I bring you the Senate substitute to House Bill 228. This is a bill which will enhance our workforce needs by targeting areas of critical responsibility, especially in nursing. What we're doing is expanding the eligibility of universities and colleges, private universities and colleges in Georgia to receive tuition equalization grant support. These grants have been around since the 70s. They provide only a nominal support level for these students, but it's critical that we expand our definition of these schools that would qualify for TEG. You have, this is a composite bill. There are multiple House bills and our Senate Bill 137 is a part of this, and certainly House Bill 228, Chairman Dempsey's bill. You have an amendment in front of you, Amendment number 1 from Senator Anvatarte. This was discussed in committee and was supported but got stripped at the last minute. I find this to be a friendly amendment and welcome your support for both the bill as well as the amendment. Thank you, Mr. President. If there are no questions, I'll yield the well.
You do have a question, Senator. Senator from the 30th, you wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr. President. Does Senator yield?
Absolutely.
I think I've got it worked out in my mind, but I just want to be sure. On lines 54 and 55, you say since before January 1st, 2021?
Yes.
And then on line 79, you say for the last 5 years. Is that different?
That the 5 years is the time frame that the school will have to be a resident or an institution that has been resided in Georgia prior to 2021. And the accreditation situation, the SACS accrediting in particular, it's a 5-year program just to receive accreditation. So we feel comfortable that these institutions will have been in the state for more than 5 years.
Thank you for that clarification.
If there are no further questions, I'll yield the well.
You no further questions. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator. You do. I apologize. Senator from 36. You always can yield the well.
Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Does Senator yield?
Yes, my good friend from the
Senator,
36th.
I was looking at the amendment, and it is if I'm not mistaken, it mandates public schools and school systems to administer yet another test. Is that maybe you could walk us through that so it's a little bit
I would
clearer.
defer to the author of the amendment, but I would suggest to you that this is an opportunity for our high school students to determine whether or not they have a particular aptitude for military service.
And a further question, if you will, it looks like on 15 and 16 that the schools and school systems shall select and administer to public school students those who choose to participate in this battery assessment, this
Again,
test.
I believe,
So-
Senator, you're speaking to the amendment. Is that correct?
That's right. And so
I
that
would defer to the author of the amendment, although I support the amendment.
so then he'll possibly take the well and explain
I
it. Thank you.
anticipate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I yield, Mr. President.
Senator has yielded. Stand at ease, working on an amendment. Mr. Leader, did you have a parliamentary inquiry?
Sir, I do. Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true the senator from the 21st was concerned about the lack of progress in the House, only passing like 10
I believe
bills
the
a day?
senator knows what he speaks.
Isn't it further true that they can only count to 10 at a time, and they have to start back at 0?
Well, that's a very, very, very intriguing notice right there, Senator. You could be, I think you know what you speak.
I'm told it's part of their Common Core math. It's in some of the curriculum in Georgia.
Do 10 things 10 at a time, huh?
That's right.
All right. Thank you, Senator. I appreciate you pointing that out. Secretary, read the substitute and then the amendment.
The Senate Committee on Higher Education offers the following substitute to House Bill 228, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to education so as to expand the definition of approved school as pertaining to tuition equalization grants at private colleges and universities. Senator Anna Vitarte of the 31st and others offers the following amendment. Amend the Senate Committee on Higher Education substitute to House Bill 228 by replacing line 3 with the following. Private colleges and universities to require the administration of a nationally recognized multiple aptitude battery assessment that measures developed abilities and helps predict future academic and occupational success in the military to public school students in grades 11 and 12 who choose to participate. That completes the order, Mr. President.
I recognize the senator from the 15th. Or is it 31st that has the amendment? 31st. Recognize the senator for 31st to speak to the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. The amendment in front of you was a request that came over from the Department of Defense from General Cardin. And basically, this amendment simply is allowing, as many of us are familiar with the ASVAB test, for the military to be allowed to be completed on school campuses and will not be administered by local school districts. In many cases, like if you've served in the military or friends or kids that are wanting to go into the military, usually it's the military, the Department of Defense who comes on the school campus and administers this test. And with that, Mr. President, I'll answer any questions.
You do have a couple questions, Senator. Senator from the 27th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chairman, do you yield?
Yes, Senator.
Is it not true that there was a bill floating around the Capitol that would require the administration of the ACT and SAT? And then when I first read this, I thought that's what you were doing, but that you clarified for me that this is the military test. The ACT and SAT would not qualify based on the language occupational success in the military in lines 17 and 18.
Yes, Senator, that's correct. This bill has nothing to do with that. Also, this bill requires no state funding. It's all paid for by the military and the federal government.
One more question, if you don't mind.
Yes,
me further
Senator.
yield. Isn't it true also on line 16, the words choose to participate clarifies this would be optional for students, and while the schools will be required to administer the test that's paid for by the military, as you mentioned, that the students would not be required to participate if they didn't want to?
That's correct, Senator. There's no forced mandate on the students. All this is asking that local school districts just provide the space for the military to provide this test on campus. Thank you.
Senator from 36.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Yield.
Yes, ma'am.
That we've had some back and forth exchanges, I think, that clarify the voluntary nature of this, and that as I understood in a conversation with one of our veterans, Senate members, veteran senator and veteran in the U.S. Army, that the Department of Defense, our State Department of, is it State Department of Defense that's conducting the
I mean, they're basically all wrapped into one. So whether it's the state, the federal,
Right.
especially it's the Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard. We need the senator from the 7th to come up here, and she can go through this with us too, since she knows all the military branches. She's not paying attention.
Well, yeah, she does, and we've already heard them recited eloquently. And my question was just clarifying the information that I got, that the Department of Defense, as you said, requested it, but also the cost of any testing is absorbed by them.
That's correct.
Not by the schools.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
Senator.
you so much.
Thank you for the question. Good question.
There are no further questions, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yield the will.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objections to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. Previous question is ordered. We're on Amendment 1. Is there objection to the adoption of Amendment 1? Without objection, Amendment 1 is adopted. Questions on the adoption of the committee substitute as amended. Is there objection to the adoption of the committee substitute as amended? Hearing none, the committee substitute as amended is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor, yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 47 and the nays are 5. This bill, having received requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Secretary read HB 254.
House Bill 254, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 9-13-142 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, relating to the requirements of an official legal organ so as to provide an alternative procedure for the designation of the official legal organ, to amend Chapter 80 of Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, relating to provisions applicable to counties, municipal corporations, and other governmental entities. The Committee of the Senate on State and Local Governmental Operations recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Ginn of the 47th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 24th to speak to the measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. I bring you House Bill 254. It's your local organ. If you do not have a legal organ in your county, it allows you to go to a nearby county. Also, it has not been updated in over 25 years. And what we're doing is we're going to go from $10 per 100 words to $15 per 100 words. And also it takes in that your digital online posting will be a legal advertisement and would count for if your legal organ makes a mistake, and that way your county will not have to wait and rerun it, or will not make your local county delayed. I ask you to vote green to help our local government. Thank you.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill? All those in favor of the bill vote yea. Opposed nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 53 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. All right, we got a special action we need to do real quick, and then we're going to break for lunch here. Secretary, read the caption.
The following message was received from the House through Mr. Riley, the clerk thereof. Mr. President, pursuant to Senate Resolution 214, previously adopted by the House and Senate, and Official Code of Georgia Annotated Section 21-2-30, the name of the Honorable William S. Duffy, having received a majority vote of the membership of the House of Representatives for State Auditor, is hereby transmitted to the Senate for confirmation. That completes the order, Mr. President.
I recognize the Majority Leader for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate confirm the election of the Honorable William S. Duffy as Chairman of the State Election Board.
The Majority Leader has moved that the Senate confirm the election of Honorable William S. Duffy as Chairman of the Election Board. Is there objection? Without objection, Senator, would you like to speak for it, or would you?
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, as spelled out in SR 214, the House just passed the resolution and just nominated William S. Duffy to be the chairman of the Elections Board. We are here to confirm that nomination and the election of the chairperson of the State Election Board. And so his bio is on each of your desks. Judge Duffy has led a distinguished and impressive career. Thank you, Mr. President, and I'm happy to take questions or yield the well if there are none.
You have no questions, Senator. As previously stated, is there objection to the motion by the Majority Leader? Without objection, all those in favor of his motion will vote yea. All those opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the motion, the yeas are 53 and the nays are 0, and the motion has carried. Congratulations, Honorable Duffy. Okay, so we're at the posture where we're going to break for lunch here, and we will reconvene. It's about 12, it's almost 12:20, so we'll try to come back in. Depending on what the House is doing over there, we might just adjourn for the day, but we're gonna have lunch first, and we'll come back in around 1:30, 1:45. But my understanding is they've taken up 12 bills and tabled a few bills, so, you know. Hey, where's my senator from the 19th? If we can go ahead and get that budget done, we'll be, I think we've got plenty of people ready to make a motion to adjourn, so. But in the meantime, our good friend, the senator from the 8th, has provided the Senate here with. He's got a company called the Great American Cobbler Company, and they got peach cobbler and blueberry cobbler and ice cream waiting on you special people here, and so let's give him a round of applause right here. He was over there at the ag department with his apron on, cooking all night last night. Boy, he looked good in it too. So, all right, we're gonna break for lunch. Stand at ease.